Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Phyllis is not okay. Her son's wife was murdered, and then the redhead was kidnapped, held captive, and nearly died. Now, life is piling on. Young and Restless is steering Red toward a mammoth meltdown that will have repercussions for not one, but two couples in Genoa City. Phyllis was devastated when Daniel's longtime love, Heather, was murdered in their apartment. But what really dialed up Phyllis' stress was her son being framed for the homicide. If that wasn't bad enough, she suspected her longtime nemesis was responsible for all of it, and she wasn't wrong. Although it turned out Sharon was being drugged and didn't kill Heather, she did dump her body in the river and frame Daniel. Despite the extenuating circumstances, Phyllis' hostility towards Sharon remained. So it was extra aggravating to find herself kidnapped and locked up in an abandoned psychiatric clinic with the blonde. Although part of their captivity involved working through their issues with each other, Sharon and Phyllis were traumatized anew by the entire experience, given they were tortured like lab rats, and came this close to losing their lives before being rescued. While Sharon might have been the most likely candidate to come out of it all, with major mental strain, instead it's been Phyllis who has visibly struggled. In what appears to be the lastest in an increasingly long line of mental health-themed plots, Phyllis appears to be grappling with a bad case of PTSD given that she's triggered by any interaction that makes her feel like the aforementioned lab rat, and things are only going to get worse. When Phyllis proved herself incapable of focusing on work, because of her obsession with helping Daniel, Billy cut her from his hypothetical company, Abbott Communications. Then Daniel pushed her away and asked for space. This left her alone and fending off a panic attack in the park. What Phyllis doesn't know is that life is about to deal her yet another blow when her daughter Summer decides to leave Genoa City. If you thought Phyllis might be headed for a nervous breakdown before, you can bet that Summer's departure will hurry things along. What will the fallout be? Well, it's not looking good on two fronts. Nick and Sharon will soon return from their trip to London to visit Noah, and whether they've ruined it off-screen remains to be seen. But given how they were dancing around the idea of getting back together before they left, it's a definite possibility. However, if they arrive home to Phyllis having a breakdown, it's going to throw a monkey wrench into the works. Rather than focusing on romance, they'll be catapulted into a scenario where one or both of them need to support the redhead. Despite their newly forged truce, Sharon is sure to be none too pleased if Nick throws himself into his customary hero role for Phyllis. Billy, meanwhile, is still openly struggling with guilt over firing Phyllis. Despite doing the best thing for his company, it clearly didn't sit well in his conscience. Should Phyllis have a full-blown nervous breakdown, the guy is going to feel terrible and will feel obligated to be there for her. As one might imagine, Sally will not be a fan of this, particularly given she has been telling him he has no reason to be guilt-ridden. Should he insist on riding to Phyllis' rescue, it may not only impinge on his relationship with Sally, but pivot her away from accepting his offer to come and work with him. Phyllis is absolutely headed for a mammoth meltdown, and the only question that remains is who will help pick up the pieces, and what will the fallout be for that knight in shining armor. If there's one thing fans of The Young and the Restless can count on, it's that Phyllis Summers never does anything halfway. Whether she's falling in love, sabotaging enemies, or fighting tooth and nail for her children, Phyllis is a woman of extremes. But lately, something feels off, even for her. The sharp glint in her eye is a little too wild. Her schemes, once calculated and clever, have taken on a chaotic edge. Her relationships, strained at best, detonated at worst. So now we have to ask the question nobody wants to say out loud. It wasn't long ago that Phyllis was, by all accounts, back. Fresh off of faking her own death to frame Diane Jenkins. A plan that went about as well as faking your death ever does in Genoa City. Phyllis clawed her way out of a prison sentence thanks to the legal maneuverings of her daughter Summer and the relentless loyalty of her on-again, off-again flame, Michael Baldwin. It should have been a wake-up call, a chance to reset. She re-entered society like a live wire, buzzing with desperation. Her eyes darted. Her tone shifted unpredictably from saccharine sweetness to biting sarcasm. And through it all, she seemed haunted. Haunted not by Diane, though there's plenty of that too, but by the creeping sense that her world was slipping away. Let's face it, Phyllis is a woman forged in fire. She's never been comfortable unless she's fighting someone. For years, that someone was Diane. Then it was Sharon. Then it was anyone who dared to come between her and her children, her love life, or her ambitions. But what happens when the war is over and the battlefield is empty? We see in her erratic behavior. One moment, she's begging Summer for forgiveness. The next, she's hacking into someone's email or blowing up a fragile truce. With Nick, with a single self-righteous monologue, she talks to herself, sometimes aloud, sometimes just in an intense internal loop that shows on her face like a storm about to break. Gone is the calculating seductress who could manipulate a room with a single glance. In her place is a woman unraveling, quietly, loudly, and often publicly. Fans know that Phyllis has always been emotional. She wears her heart on her sleeve, even when it's better off hidden. But this feels different. It's not just passion anymore. It's paranoia. It's obsession. It's a need for control that borders on compulsive. She doesn't just want people to see her side. She needs them to validate her version of events, even if she has to burn bridges to get it. Her children have noticed. Daniel walks on eggshells around her. Summer is visibly exhausted. Even her allies, those rare, patient souls like Michael or Lauren, are starting to hedge their bets. It's almost as if Phyllis is scared of what happens when she stands still. When she's not plotting, scheming, or defending herself, she's adrift. And that might be the most telling sign of all. Of course, The Young and the Restless isn't new to breakdowns. Genoa City has seen its fair share, from Sharon's dissociative episodes to Ashley's hallucinatory spirals. The show has explored trauma, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and grief-induced psychosis, with varying degrees of nuance. So, is it Phyllis's turn? It would make sense. She's experienced an extreme trauma, faking her death, going on the run, living in a diggy motel while her children mourned her. That's not the kind of thing you bounce back from with a fresh manicure and a pep talk. Phyllis may not be hallucinating, but she's clearly in crisis. And like many women who are strong and assertive, her pain is being misread as simply drama. But scratch beneath the surface, and we find something heartbreaking. A woman afraid of being irrelevant, forgotten, unloved. In some of her quieter moments, when the camera lingers a second too long, when the dialogue slips and her voice trembles, we see a very different Phyllis. Vulnerable, tired, aching for connection, but terrified of rejection. And it's in these cracks that we glimpse the truth. Phyllis isn't just spiraling because she lost control. She's spiraling because she lost herself. When she looks in the mirror, she doesn't recognize the woman staring back. Not the mother, not the ex-wife, not the friend or the lover or the brilliant strategist. Just a survivor who doesn't know how to stop surviving. It's not that she wants to hurt the people around her. She just can't help but self-destruct, and when Phyllis self-destructs, she tends to take everyone down with her. If this is a nervous breakdown, it might be the most human story The Young and the Restless has told in years. Watching Phyllis unravel, messily, tragically, yet somehow relatably, is a reminder that strength doesn't mean perfection. That the loudest, boldest women can be suffering in silence. And that redemption isn't always about fixing your image. It's about facing your pain. The question now is, will the writers give Phyllis the space to fall apart properly? Will we see therapy, real introspection, a storyline that doesn't just lead to another vengeful twist, but instead shows us the slow, difficult journey toward healing? Or will Phyllis do what she's always done? Bury the pain, slap on a smile, and plot her next power move? But one thing is clear, Phyllis Summers isn't okay. And maybe, just maybe, it's time she stopped pretending to be.